Mike Johnson, Republican congressman from Louisiana, chaired that emotional hearing. Welcome to the Faulkner Focus. What did you hear that maybe you didn't even expect to learn yesterday?
Well, it was a very compelling testimony, Harris, as you saw and heard, and we're so grateful for these brave young women who are willing to come forward. Chloe Cole, the first that you heard from yesterday, was actually her 19th birthday, but she told a harrowing account of when she was 12 or 13 years old. She goes to the doctor with her parents, and they were coerced and bullied into this medical transition. They quite literally told her and her parents she either transitions or she's going to die. I mean, they lied to her. That's her words. That's Chloe's testimony. And no one could deny the reality of what's happening. This is a profound medical scandal that is based on barbaric pseudoscience. That's what came out at the hearing. And I think every American needs to take notice of what's happening right now.
Well, Congressman, I know during the hearing, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee assured the panel that religious leaders said transgender ideology is fine. Let's watch.
I will not pretend to be a scriptured person. I am not ordained. I'm not in any leading religious organization as a religious leader, but I have spoken to persons who lead, and they've given me no evidence that this issue speaks to anyone's religion.
Why did that come up? Like, how was that part of the conversation yesterday?
That's a great question, Harris. We all scratched our heads. The Democrats and anyone who would support what is happening here have no real way to do so. There's no logical explanation they can provide, no argument they can present to make this okay. What is happening right now is the surgical mutilation of the genitals of young children. I don't want to be too graphic, but the description of what is happening here is just profound. And those who aren't undergoing the surgical treatment, this experimental stuff that there's no science to back up at all, they have no idea the profound long-term effects it will have on these kids. And there are other physicians who are using drugs off-label, not FDA approved for this use, but to chemically castrate children. This is happening now in many states around the country, and it is shocking.
Well, one of the drugs, the puberty blockers that they use on young boys, does castrate them. And I have read that it is FDA approved for prostate cancer, but not for use of children, and especially not for this use. So it is off the charts, you would say, in terms of medically and also just morally. I mean, listen to Chloe. Are we going to listen to the children? Because if we're going to cut them up, maybe we should listen to them too. Your last word on this, we'll move forward.
Well, that's the problem, is that we need these voices to be heard. We need more Americans to be cognizant of this. Thankfully, I think 27 states now have legislated in this arena to prohibit this nonsense in their states, but it's happening elsewhere, and we've got to pay attention. I think Congress may have a role to play here.
All right. House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan presented what he calls smoking gun evidence that the Biden administration colluded with social media companies to censor content that Americans could see. He shared internal meta-communications that he calls the Facebook files, and they include emails showing how hard the Biden administration pushed the company to take down anti-COVID vaccine posts. The White House swatted away the question on the explosive claim. Watch this.
How much is the White House now working with social media companies to remove concern posts or things they don't want?
It's an ongoing case. I would refer you to the Department of Justice on this.
Is the White House still communicating with social media companies?
So, look, as I've repeated many times from here, we have promoted responsible actions to protect public health, safety, and security. We believe social media companies have a critical responsibility to take account of the effects of their platforms that they have on the American people while making independent decisions about the content of their platforms.
Congressman, I think that's a really long way to say, yes, the White House was talking with the social media platforms about what Americans could not see.
Yes, and over the last 2 weeks, I'll point out that FBI Director Christopher Wray and DHS Secretary Mayorkas both appeared before our Judiciary Committee and its subcommittees and testified under oath to things that are demonstrably untrue. We know for a fact the Biden administration and these agencies, including the DOJ, were colluding with and coercing big tech as far back as 2017. This is in a court record in the federal court out of Louisiana, a 155-page opinion issued July 4th, where it says that this is the court's words, not Republicans in Congress, arguably the most massive attack on free speech in United States history at the hands of the White House and these officials. We have to get on top of this. You cannot maintain the free marketplace of ideas if the government is censoring and silencing and suppressing viewpoints that it disagrees with. It truly is Orwellian.
Orwellian. It's un-American. Glad you are on it. Congressman, thank you. Good to have you in focus.
Thanks.